Metal screamed as a steel beam collapsed, crushing the hood of Vanessa Mitchell's car. Glass shattered, airbags burst, and smoke filled the air. Inside the wreck, the 42-year-old CEO of Mitchell Enterprises fought to breathe. Then, through the chaos, a shadow moved, broad-shouldered, strong, unhesitating. Rough hands tore open the buckled door and pulled her out, carrying her clear just as the structure groaned and fell. By the time sirens cut through the din, her rescuer was gone, leaving only a worn work jacket draped around her shoulders. Vanessa never saw his face clearly, only remembered the steady calm in his voice. "You're safe now." Hours later, in a modest apartment across town, an alarm buzzed at 5:30 a.m. Jack Reynolds silenced it instantly, careful not to wake 6-year-old Emma. Their mornings were ritual: shower, coffee, cereal. Emma, bright-eyed and careful, always arranged her breakfast in patterns before eating. It was her way of creating order, since her mother had left 3 years earlier. After dropping Emma with kind old Mrs. Henderson downstairs, Jack headed to work at the Mitchell Tower construction site, the same place where, the day before, instinct had driven him into the path of falling steel. He hadn't even known who the trapped woman was. He saw danger, acted, and disappeared. At 35, Jack's life was a loop of hard labor and fatherhood. Calloused hands, worn boots, simple meals, and quiet evenings reading bedtime stories. He'd once dreamed of designing buildings. He'd even studied architecture before dropping out when Nancy's pregnancy changed everything. Now, instead of sketching skylines, he built them with sweat and steel. That morning, as he signed in at the site, his foreman grunted, "You're on the 10th floor, Reynolds. Keep your head out of the clouds." Jack nodded, silent as always. The men joked about the accident, about some big boss lady being saved by a mystery worker. Jack kept his head down. He didn't need attention or a reward. He just needed steady hours and Emma's laughter to fill the silence Nancy left behind. Across town, Vanessa Mitchell sat in her 30th floor office, nursing bruises under a pristine suit. She'd built her empire through precision and drive, transforming Mitchell Enterprises into a real estate powerhouse. Yet, the accident had rattled something inside her, an unfamiliar crack in her iron discipline. "Miss Mitchell," her assistant Robert said gently, "the board wants you to rest." "They can rest when profits dip," she replied. "Find me the man who pulled me out of that car." Robert hesitated. Footage was blocked by debris. No clear image. "We're checking site records." "I need a name," Vanessa said, her tone final. "That man saved my life. He deserves to be found." She told herself it was gratitude, but late at night, when she replayed the moment of her rescue, it felt like something deeper: confusion, humility, maybe even awe. A stranger had risked everything for her and walked away without asking for a thing. Over the next week, Vanessa used every resource she had: anonymous staff events, surprise inspections, bonuses, to lure her mystery savior into the light. But no one matched the steady calm she remembered. At dinner one night, her closest friend and attorney Caroline teased, "Maybe he doesn't want to be found, Van." Vanessa frowned. Everyone wants to be recognized. "Not everyone measures worth in the same currency," Caroline said softly. The words unsettled her. Vanessa was used to equations. Effort equals success, risk equals reward. But this man, whoever he was, didn't fit the formula. 3 weeks later, her security team brought her a file. "Jack Reynolds," Robert reported, "construction worker, missing from his post exactly 22 minutes during your accident. Family, single father, 6-year-old daughter. No infractions." Vanessa opened the file. The photo showed a man with clear eyes, weary but strong. No arrogance, no pretense. Just quiet resolve. "Set up a meeting," she said. When Jack was called upstairs, suspicion filled him. He'd spent years mastering invisibility. Attention meant risk of losing the fragile stability he'd built for Emma. But the moment he entered the sleek office and saw Vanessa Mitchell in person, he recognized her immediately. "Mr. Reynolds," she began, standing despite the bruise still fading near her collarbone. "Thank you for coming." Jack stayed near the door. Didn't have much choice. "There's no problem," she said quickly. Quite the opposite. She gestured toward a chair. Please sit. He did cautiously. Her desk gleamed, her presence sharp and composed. 3 weeks ago, Vanessa said, a beam fell. You saved my life. Then you vanished. Why? Jack shrugged. You needed help. I helped. That's all. That's enough. Vanessa leaned forward, studying him. What you did was extraordinary. My company rewards extraordinary actions. She slid a folder toward him. A management position. Better pay. Benefits. You deserve more than swinging a hammer. Jack didn't open it. Instead, he pushed it back gently. I appreciate it, Miss Mitchell, but I'm fine where I am. She blinked. You're turning down a promotion that doubles your salary? I didn't help you for a paycheck, he said evenly. Then why? She asked before she could stop herself. Jack's voice softened. Because my daughter's watching how I live. I want her to see what doing the right thing looks like. Something in Vanessa's chest shifted. For a woman who built her life on transactions, his words struck deep. I'd still like to do something for you, she tried again. A college fund for Emma. Housing. Anything. Jack stood, disappointment flickering across his face. Turning a good deed into a deal cheapens it, don't you think? For once, Vanessa Mitchell, the woman who always had a retort, had nothing to say. Before leaving, Jack paused as she held out his worn jacket. Their fingers brushed. A jolt of something passed between them. Unfamiliar, raw, real. The following Sunday afternoon, the city park buzzed with families. Children's laughter mingled with the smell of roasted nuts and the rhythm of a street musician's guitar. Vanessa had come there against her own instincts, after a week of board meetings and press interviews that suddenly felt hollow. She sat alone on a bench, heels sinking into the grass, watching people live the kind of simple happiness she'd traded years to escape. A familiar voice broke her thoughts. Emma, careful with that swing. You'll launch yourself to the moon. Vanessa turned sharply. Across the playground stood Jack Reynolds, wearing the same work jacket she'd returned, his sleeves rolled up, hands outstretched as his daughter flew through the air with fearless laughter. It was such a small human scene, one that hit her harder than any balance sheet or quarterly report ever had. For a moment, Vanessa just watched. Emma leapt from the swing, tumbling into her father's arms, shrieking with joy. Jack caught her effortlessly, smiling in a way Vanessa hadn't seen before, unguarded, pure. He noticed her then. Their eyes met across the crowd. A flicker of surprise, then quiet understanding. Miss Mitchell, he greeted as she approached, still uncertain why she'd come. Vanessa, she corrected softly. No titles today. He nodded once. Vanessa, then, didn't expect to see you here. I didn't expect to be here either, she admitted. May I? She gestured to the bench. Sure. Emma clung shyly to Jack's leg. Daddy, who's she? This is Miss Vanessa, he said gently. She's someone Daddy helped at work. Vanessa crouched to Emma's level, smiling awkwardly. I owe your dad a lot. Emma tilted her head, curious. You fell down. Jack chuckled, something like that. Vanessa laughed too, an honest sound that startled her. Something like that, she echoed. They spent the next hour talking, mostly about Emma, sometimes about work, but never about the accident directly. Vanessa found herself listening more than speaking, noticing how Jack chose his words carefully, never exaggerating, never complaining. His life was hard, but not bitter. He carried struggle with quiet dignity. At one point, Emma offered Vanessa a half-eaten cookie, and Vanessa, without thinking, accepted it. Jack smirked. You just made her day. She doesn't share easily. Neither do I, Vanessa admitted, smiling back. When they finally parted, something unspoken lingered, a pull neither quite named. Over the next few months, their paths crossed more often, sometimes by accident, sometimes because Vanessa found excuses to visit the construction site, other times because Jack, despite himself, didn't mind. She'd show up with coffee for the crew, but somehow there was always one extra cup, the one he liked, black, no sugar. He'd shake his head. You know, if the CEO keeps showing up at a job site, people start talking. Let them, she'd reply, feigning nonchalance that fooled neither of them. In truth, Vanessa had begun changing in ways her board didn't understand. She delegated more, listened more, even started an employee family support program after learning about Jack's struggle to find affordable childcare. It's not charity, she told the board. It's loyalty investment. But deep down, she knew it was more personal than policy. Meanwhile, Jack fought an internal war. The woman who represented everything distant and untouchable was now visiting playgrounds and construction scaffolds as if she belonged there. He didn't trust what it meant or what it was doing to his heart. One rainy evening, Vanessa showed up at his apartment door, soaked and breathless. "I tried calling," she said. "You didn't answer." "Phone died," Jack said, frowning. "Everything okay?" She hesitated. "The board voted me out this morning. They said I've lost my edge." "Maybe they're right." Jack handed her a towel. "You didn't lose your edge. You found your heart. They just don't like seeing it." She sank onto his worn sofa, exhausted. "Do you ever feel like you spent your whole life climbing the wrong mountain?" Jack sat beside her. "Every day. But then I hear Emma laugh, and I figure maybe this mountain's the right one after all." For a long time, they sat in silence, the hum of rain filling the room. Then Vanessa whispered, "You changed me, Jack. You made me see what I couldn't." He looked at her, eyes steady. "You changed yourself. I just reminded you what mattered." Their hands brushed, lingered. Neither pulled away. Months later, Mitchell Enterprises, under new leadership, quietly folded under bad deals. But Vanessa didn't crumble. With Jack's help, she started over, founding a small firm that built affordable housing for single parents and veterans. Jack became her construction lead. On opening day of their first completed project, Emma ran to the rows of new homes, giggling. "Daddy, look. It's like the drawings you make." Jack smiled, then turned to Vanessa. "We did it." She nodded. "We did." He grinned. "Guess we're partners now." "Guess so," she said, eyes softening. "Business and otherwise?" Jack hesitated, then took her hand. "Let's build one thing at a time." That night, long after the ribbon was cut and the crowd gone, Vanessa stood outside the new homes under the quiet hum of streetlights. Jack joined her, Emma asleep in his arms. "You know," Vanessa said, "the day of that accident, I thought success was measured in numbers. Now I think it's in moments like this." Jack smiled. "Then I'd say you're the richest woman I know." She looked at him, eyes glinting with something brighter than ambition. "Not without you, Jack." He kissed her then, slow, certain, no audience, no spotlight. Just two people who'd saved each other in ways neither could have predicted. And as rain began to fall again, softly this time, Vanessa realized she wasn't being rescued anymore. She was finally living.